All right, everybody wants to be connected. We want to always be on. There's a growing trend with this of communicating with our friends, keeping everybody connected. Entertainment, work, school, even the little ones want to be connected nowadays. How do we do it when off is not an option? Because the customers count on businesses to be on all the time. We have to be on for our financial transactions, for our favorite juice bar. We have to be on for getting anywhere we want to go, and we especially have to have our data centers on all the time. So how do we do this? In the old days, it was the preventative maintenance way. There was no backup power, scheduled work only. Had to make sure you got somebody out there on time when you needed them. The data was often incorrect. We had holes in our data. We were always doing emergency repairs, as we were just now. And downtime causes serious power issues. So how do we stay on in this day and age? Ontegrity has a new way with predictive analytics in our technologies. We provide intelligent power. We also have our OMS application dashboard. We have strong service team that is a provider when there is predictive as well as preventative maintenance to do. We have increased nonstop deployment. We have real-time analytics with our OMS and our ensemble dashboard. In other words, we keep our technologies going seamlessly to keep things together. That's what we do for business. How did we implement the new way? We had a mission to convert from a legacy platform. We had our business challenges with only a couple of technology resources, and we were trying to keep a balance between the business challenges and our software technology legacy platform getting to the new world. Well, management appointed new management, me, to be able to try and figure out how do we get to the future that we needed to get to. First, we put a scope around containment and contained our current business problems and challenges. And then I heard the Obama story on Obamacare about New Relic, and I said, this sounds like something we really need to bring our legacy systems into the future with limited resources. And that's when we first started with New Relic and APM. But let me tell you just for a minute what Optimization Management System, or OMS, is all about. We do project, program, management, and workflow with multi-tiered application access. So we have views for our customers, as well as our vendors, as well as for all of our internal people. We perform technical surveys, data gathering, real-time data exchanges, all of the analytics. We're IEEE compliant, and we have dashboards, queries, reports, results, and altogether that makes optimizing the management systems of field work for preventative maintenance, or OMS. Now, remember we had a legacy system. It started a long time ago. In 2012, we were actually cloud-based before there was such a terminology as cloud-based computing. But its hardware and its software framework was rather old and obsolete. It was based on large, heavily enhanced code, patched many ways, from an operational perspective, whatever it took just to keep things going. And we really had an issue because of the framework it was on. It did not support the double byte character set, so therefore we couldn't expand. We couldn't expand internationally to our Asian cultures. So how did we evolve it to what we have today called OMS 5.0? In 2012, again, we did not have any documentation on this application. We had 2 technical people in-house. One of them, I'm happy to say, is here today. Very smart people, but a lot of challenges because too many business demands are coming on their time constantly. And with all these overcommitted business priorities, management decided in 2013 through 2014 last year to reverse engineer the legacy code what was there just to get it to the new platform. Once they did that, though, they had a lot of trouble maintaining that baseline because that's a long time from 2013 to 2014. Business priorities change. You're trying to keep up with your customer needs and the growing demands. So we didn't really have any significant software testing involved. We had a very difficult time trying to understand where the reverse engineer code was breaking, and it was breaking a lot. And we also didn't have a way to migrate that data from our old environment to our new environment. So what we ended up being able to do is we had a very aggressive 2-month schedule to introduce a new business opportunity, take a subset of the code, keeping it contained, and bring in a China partner, deploy this in that environment. How are we going to do that? This is when we brought in new Relic ATM and put it on our servers and browser. And that's just a sample of what we did with the subset of the data there. So what ended up happening, instead of it taking 2 months just to even hopefully get something stabilized, we actually got stability within 1.5 weeks and met an unprecedented timeline for introducing a partnership and opportunity in Asia. So how did we get to here today? So in the rest of 2014, from September to December, we took what we called China 200, subset of our functionality with the APM and browser, and we stabilized it to convert in 2015 at the beginning of this year, got the rest of our functionality, 70% of it completed, migrated. We came up on January 1 of this year in US production environment without a single downtime. We've avoided all critical outages that could never be set on the old platform. And we've now got a new partnership that was just announced this last week with Xinjiang in China, major tier 1 agency there. We've also added insights during this last year, which was what I spoke about at the Boston conference. This has really allowed us to get the performance that we needed in the management reporting out of our application. We've also added, since this summer, synthetics, because we're expanding to other markets, including a pilot that we call Stage Mexico in Mexico City. And we're using that to be able to test remotely our application before we're introducing it, even in a pilot stage to our customer. So how are we using Insights and OMS? You can see our customer view. I said we had 3 different tiers of viewing the application. Customer, we actually have customers that log in, and in the last month, they did over 65,000 transactions. Our management likes seeing what it is our customers are using on the application. We're also a big user of it internally with Ontegrity. Within Ontegrity, we had even more transactions because we use it to manage all of our service providing sites and services of being a full service provider to keeping power on everywhere. And last but not least, we contract a lot of vendors and suppliers to help us when we have peaks in our works and services. And our vendors are actually the biggest user of OMS, and we're able to keep all of those going and know who's using what by the plugs we put into Insights. It's been very, very powerful for us. That's just the views. What else we have is we have the reports. We have very flexible database reporting, and we're able to understand each and every report that all of our different customers, we know what our customers looking at in the data elements, and we know what our vendors are running. We even know the reports that all of our users are doing. Gives us a lot of insight into all the different things that our application does. And before, we could never get it that fast. So with Insights and OMS, one other thing that's been really key, because we do an internal quality assurance process with our program analysts to validate a lot of the data that's gathered by images with our application, and to make sure the quality of those images is good, we physically have to eyeball them. Our management was always wondering, how do I know that the analysts are really working, and how do I know that they're really doing a good job, and how often they're doing all these audit updates and validations. So we were able to, with Insights, put in hooks so that we can track every single question that's been modified and changed and see who's doing what, when, and how often they're doing their updates. Management loves this. Last but not least, Insight transaction traces also help us to enable, in 1 week with one vendor, what are our suppliers doing out there? Are they really doing the work that they're supposed to be doing, that they've been contracted to do for us? And we get a better view as to which type of areas that they're addressing. Is this part of it? We validate this against the statement of work that we have with them. So it's truly strengthened the project management capability of our tool set and given us good insight into that. And then here's just a sample, as Lou showed earlier today, of NRQL, just one sample of what we've done. So in summary, I'd like to say that we use APM, we use browser, and these are just actual screenshots of all the different areas that we have the application is linked up on and using. Across our servers, we use it for synthetics for our production environments on locations that are out there to test before it goes there. Insights are everywhere, it's everywhere. And New Relics has significantly helped OMS and Ontegrity, and even experimenting with it, Ensemble, to quickly and simultaneously monitor and track our performance in all aspects of our organization. And I will be over in the Hackers Lounge if anybody has any questions and wants to see any live data. Thank you very much.
You ended a little bit early, so thanks Danielle.
Okay.
So she's actually a little bit early, so I thought if anybody does have questions, we have a couple minutes to answer here on stage. Otherwise, as we mentioned, we'd love you to get to know her, chat with each other. But are there any questions? Yes. Right here.
So what moved you to synthetics? My background is I just now started using Relic across a lot of our omnichannel, and we haven't moved to synthetics yet. I was just wondering what was the key driver for that?
Okay, we were very able to tell within the United States the performance because we have a lot of different customers and vendors within the US using the application. But as we moved both into Asian markets and into Latin American markets, we are unable to verify what their experience is from trying to access with their internet and their internet browser, and what it really is going to look like from that country. And we want it to be, that's what we're using synthetics for, is to be able to establish the connectivity remotely and run our application with scripted testing through its paces to really be able to capture this particular transaction page. Does well in the United States, but it does not do well from Mexico City, that type of thing. And it really helps us to performance tune our application for a good end user experience with our customers in the field before it really gets in the field with them. And that's what we're using it for. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Thank you again.
All right, thank you.